Is Southwest Airlines, ticker symbol LUV, an undervalued company? That's what we're talking about today. So I was on Investor Waves and I was reading the recent trade calls that were extracted, and we extracted a trade call from Everything Money on YouTube, is pretty bullish on Southwest stock and said that his price targets are at a low 55. So it's currently at $32 per share. Low price target for him, $55 per share. High price target for him, about $160, and then a middle point of $100 per share. So that would be up 3x from where it is today. So I saw this and I decided to take a few minutes to look into, where is Southwest Airlines right now? Why is it down so much from their all-time highs back in 2021? And what's the short-term outlook of this company? So the big thing about Southwest Airlines has been their profit margins. During COVID, I didn't get an exact number on this, but I believe it was in the 10 to 15% profit margins right before COVID happened for this company. And in recent quarters, it has been a little bit up and down, but they're trying to claw their way back up to where it was in those pre-COVID levels. And that is really what his main thesis is here, is that if they can get to their profit margin back up to, call it 10%, then this is a significantly more valuable company and the stock price will increase. That's his whole thesis here. And he's right about that. But I think there's more to discuss than that on this issue, because yes, right now in 2025, net income about 0.7 billion for Southwest Airlines. If they had a margin of 10%, obviously it's going to multiply 2-3x in terms of cash flow there to 2.75 billion. Earnings per share, everything's going to go up and everything's going to be positive, and that would likely put it at a fair price at the same PE ratio to $62 per share. So yes, that's true, but can they actually do that in the short term? And will that happen? That's up for us investors to decide. In April of this year, the Southwest Airlines CEO actually came out and said that as far as he's concerned, a recession already has started in regards to a technical downturn in the U.S. economy. So that would maybe explain these blips in the profit margin. And usually when recession started, airlines are a good place to look at their numbers. But there's more going on than that. They actually have a big thing with Boeing airplanes, and the Boeing airplanes not delivering on time. You see in this comment here that the MAX 7s are over 5 years late, and Boeing has severely cut back on those deliveries. And so Southwest Airlines has had to retire many of their old airplanes, and it's led to obviously fewer planes, fewer flights, huge inefficiencies, raising costs, and things like that. And there's a question of, yes, the overall economy and recessions, but there's also this question of, if they do get their fleet of planes up, would they become profitable enough to, increase the stock price and change the sentiment from investors? And there's also the question of Elliott, which I believe this is a activist hedge fund who's running things, and he's really come in and kind of shaken up this business. I did see a few months ago that they changed their open seating policy. They're changing how many bags get to fly free, all these things. And investors online and even myself are just kind of curious about if they are a company for a long haul, or if it's just a short-term play to get more profitable and then kind of pump and dump it and get out of there. So I think that's the question to ask yourself. if you're looking into this company, look online, read these posts. It's a lot of mixed stuff, but there is a Southwest Airlines subreddit, if I can find it here, that you get a lot of good commentary from people that, are customers and fly the airline and know the inner workings of the business. And if you're a value investor, I think it's worth a look. And there are value investors here on Reddit, and actually the guy who posted this looking into Southwest Airlines as a stock said he was going to pass on this as of 11 days ago, because usually activist investors want to squeeze every penny and kind of maybe sacrifice long-term potential for short-term profits. And that could be the case here. Maybe so, maybe not. But we'll see what happens.